Welcome back to the LCS Summer 2024. We are in the middle of Dignitas versus FlyQuest. Trash was talked. Rivalries were sparked up. Dudes were getting heated. And then game number one,
Dignitas was slammed.
It was a beatdown. You probably can't even show that in some states. It was just brutality. And Dignitas are going to have to find something better here in this second game. Let's see how they change it up. It's Kalista immediately banned out. They do not want to deal with that one again. Triple champ bans from Dignitas. The Kalista, the Ashe, the Senna. Meanwhile, on FlyQuest, they're going to remove the Zyra alongside those two top-tier top laners in the Rumble and Skarner. But yes, the Karthus being left up, that's the big difference from draft number one here in the bans, as Leona is once again prioritized for Dig.
Exactly, and Inspired has been prioritizing that Karthus quite a bit here. Those drawings are sick.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Every time I see people with drawings like that, I always wish I could draw something better than a stick figure.
It's hard, man.
It's tough.
It's hard to even write your name and have it look good.
Once I learned the magic of signing by just making the first letter
just
and then
do a little
scribble,
squiggle. Yeah.
No,
that's OP.
Yeah, I actually don't remember how to write cursive at all. I literally don't know. So squiggles forever, man. But we got that Leona for Dig. FlyQuest gonna go ahead, grab themselves the Ezreal. And do they really want to go for this brand? Or is this just the, hey, we know that you just played this and inted on it, so we're just going to remind you of that real quick before we lock in our pick?
It might be a little bit of that, but Dignitas have got to fight back in game two to keep this a rivalry and stop it from being bullying.
Yes!
Because FlyQuest crushed them in game number one, but I think if you were coming in this series, even if you thought FlyQuest was going to win, I don't think you would have thought that it was the bot lane that crushed Dignitas.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't have thought that was the way it was going to happen. And to me, game one was so much about the bot lane. They forced the lane swap with the matchup, then they played the lane swap well. They win this 2v3, which was really what blew everything wide open. Then they had so much prio bot that they're taking all 5 plates and the tower bot. They're getting all dragons, all objectives. Boostio is roaming around the map, creating advantages for Quad and Inspired as well. I just think it was really impressive to see this youngster bot lane crushing it like that.
Boostio was my MVP for game number one, and it was not close. This guy set up everything. He made everything constantly happen. Those handshakes, the hostile takeovers being placed beautifully alongside the walls from Inspired. This time around, though, we're going to get the same two champions in mid lane. I mean, it's Tristana Corki. It's summer 2024.
Yeah.
This is the way League of Legends is played, but it's the other way around this time. Jensen going to be playing that Corki, which he is more experienced on.
Yeah, exactly. He really is a lot more experienced on it. And it's going to be interesting because, you know, when the Ezreal got locked in, I was thinking, hey, this could actually be going mid because we've seen Quid kind of popularize that in the LCS. And, of course, it is now going to be going down to Masu unless they're doing something really crazy. Triss can still be played bot, but it's almost exclusively played mid and pro. Yeah. So we are definitely expecting these to be kind of standard roles. It is the Kai'Sa again, which is kind of interesting because it really did not work out in that first game, but I think their read is that it's less about the Kai'Sa and more about the Kalista, and taking the Kalista away, they're going to feel confident. When you think back to the kind of olden days where Kai'Sa was really popular and in every single game for a long time, Kai'Sa was kind of considered this like pseudo counter into Ezreal because Ezreal couldn't really punish in lane, and then you could actually win 1v1s by getting aggressive. You know, you E forward, you get the plasma on them, then when they shift back, you R into follow, and you kind of win this 1v1. So people considered that an advantageous matchup for the Kai'Sa. We'll see if that ends up being a point of power for Dignitas, though, because they spent a lot of their draft priority on getting these bot lane picks.
Yeah, and looking at the draft here in the second half, I like FlyQuest's focus because they ban out those two remaining high-tier AP junglers. We heard APA talking about it in game number one, saying, hey, it's the Karthus and the Zyra that are the top tier, and then below them is the Brand. A little bit below that is the Taliyah. So we'll see what Dignitas wants to pilot. Azale, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to see Nidalee. If I see Nidalee, I'm going to tilt.
I am not a fan of Nidalee at all. You know, there are other options. If it is a melee-heavy team, it's not really a melee-heavy team, but you can sometimes see things like Lilia. I actually think low-key Rumble Jungle is not too bad. There are a lot of...
banned, though.
Yeah, excuse me, yeah. But like even just talking about like as far as like solo queue tier, there are a lot of AP jungle options you can go. You can go different routes, like things like Ivern, obviously not bringing a lot of AP damage, but it is another one of those junglers that can be pretty powerful. It is going to be the Nidalee though, and it is going to be Nidalee K'Sante. Nidalee Leona, at least you have a little bit of setup. Flowers looks very sad right now. It's got the 1,000-yard stare. Nidalee is just not something that has really been working out in the LCS. Honestly, the only league it's really looking good in is the LPL. And then, of course, like Gen G looks good, but Gen G kind of just looks good with everything.
I feel like that's more of a Gen G thing than a Nidalee thing.
Exactly, right? But when I look at win rates for the different leagues, it was really only the LPL that had a good win rate. This was last week, but the LCK had around a 40% win rate for Nidalee. LCS was like winless. LEC, hadn't really been playing it at all. The first game that I saw them play, they lost on it as well. So it's just really only been something that has been really successful in kind of really heavy skirmish leagues, and that's why some people are thinking, hey, maybe this is more successful in the LPL because these teams are just kind of fighting a lot early, and that's maybe causing the Nidalee to be able to kind of get into these advantageous positions. But especially against Karthus, like, you don't really even outpace the Karthus as far as farming at all, and there's a lot of pressure on you to get things done early. I will say, I don't think Nidalee is as extremely early game as it used to be because the healing is kind of better than it was in the past. So at least you can kind of be a little bit of kind of pseudo poke and heal. But I agree that it is not the pick that I would love to see. And I think looking over at what FlyQuest have drafted, it is going to be a really tough game for Dig. The Poppy also got moved down towards bot, and it's Hail of Blades Poppy for Busio.
That's a scrappy Poppy.
That is kind of crazy. I don't know if I've really seen Hail of Blades Poppy much at all. Like, that is like some throwback like lethality stuff, but then people, when they go lethality, used to play like Electrocute and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hail of Blades is going to be interesting.
I mean, hey man, I am going to give Busio the let him cook pass.
Okay.
After that game number 1, I believe in this dude.
Let him cook.
All right? I want to see what he's ready to bring out for this one. Going up against that Leona Kai'Sa duo again, this time with the Ezreal and the Poppy. I think there's just so much pressure on Spica in particular, because we talk about how game number 1, everything just collapsed right at the start with that 2v3 outplay that FlyQuest made. It's Spica who started that playoff. It was FlyQuest responding to Spica's attempt at a gank. And now Spica's on a champion that you really want to have some high tempo early with, and I want to see how successful he can be at it, because I think so much of Dignitas's chances in this game are going to be riding on him.
Yep, absolutely. But if you're wondering why this matchup was kind of considered so spicy, there's been a lot of trash talk going back and forth. It kind of started with this Inspired interview after finals where he was kind of putting a lot of the blame onto Jensen. And Jensen, this was his quote in an interview talking about how, he felt like FlyQuest had already made the decision to get rid of him, but just really weren't being honest with him, really weren't telling him. And there was also another kind of similar situation for Spica where he had a lot of frustrations where he had actually found out that he was officially off of the org through Twitter. Didn't actually feel that he had been communicated with. So there's a little bit of heat with that. There's also some heat between these players because Jensen Inspired have been kind of going back and forth on some content now. Bwipo is obviously a very big kind of boisterous personality, and he's going to talk his split whenever he feels like he should. These guys are really confident. And I don't think they're necessarily even seeing it as trash talk. They're just seeing it as like, hey, I'm just being honest about how I feel. If you messed up, I'm going to tell you. But it has created some pretty cool stories and some pretty cool content, and it's created a bit of a rivalry here in the LCS.
It's so much more fun to watch it when it's like that, when you have just that extra little bit of sauce, that extra little bit of spice behind it. Brings me back to the old CLG and TSM days, right? Hotshot and Reggie going at it with who's going to win, having those matchups with so much on the line that everybody got so invested in. But we're zooming out here, taking a look at all 3 lanes. Licorice on that K'Sante does have to deal with the terror that is TF top. This guy is such a pain to deal with for so many melee top players.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do kind of have to wonder, did he think it was just going to be Poppy top that he was going to be laning against? Was that a little bit of a curveball? This is going to be the 5th game in major regions this split that Poppy has been played support. Mickey obviously got a lot of attention playing it internationally and has been really good on it for G2. And 3 of these 4 games have been played with the Hail of Blades. So obviously Hail of Blades going to be really aggressive for the laning phase. As Quad just jumping in on Jensen there, taking a nice early trade, and did reset the rocket jump, so could potentially go forward even further. But has to be careful about that cannon that is just pelting him right now and kind of evening out that trade. But it's also just kind of playing, with this really aggressive mindset. I think when you're on Poppy, you have to really be in their face and have to be looking for these plays. Because if you play passively, you just don't get a lot done.
Right. You're just kind of sitting there being like, I guess I can soak skill shots for you or whatever, or stop somebody from dashing. But we can see Inspired making his way down into the bottom lane. He knows that his bot lane is about to try to crash this wave into the turret. He wants to make sure that he's here in case Spica was going to try to make any sort of a move on them, but Spica still just pathing back up towards the top side of the map. It's Inspired who will secure this bottom river Scuttle Crab. Spica's going to do the same thing up on the other side of things, and honestly, everything's just pretty quiet here in the early game.
Yeah, very, very even across the board, except for that top lane where it is, pretty decent gold lead opening up there for Bwipo. We have to see how many minions are still left to farm for Licorice, of course, as he may just have more to collect. But TF expected to get an advantage in that 1v1, absolutely. And you are just kind of cheating and printing extra gold with that passive. So it's going to be difficult for Licorice, and it's just going to be about him kind of surviving. I do think that Bwipo is someone that they potentially want to target with some of these ganks, and also playing alongside Isles is going to be really important for Spica. They have got to be successful as a duo, moving around, landing the stun on Leona, guaranteeing the spear, having that follow-up to really accelerate Spica and get him into a position where he can play aggressive. But for now, it looks like he's going to look for a wraparound potentially here on Quad.
Nope, just looking out for some chickens. A jungler's best friend. You gotta make sure you keep tabs on those, as Inspired now just going to continue his own farming, picking up the last little tiny Kruggy, and right back onto the chickens he goes. So Spica's going to at least be aware of where his enemy is. But Licorice stuck underneath this turret, man. Low health, low mana. Bwipo crashing that big wave in right now. He's already up plus 18. Even if Licorice farms all of these minions, he's not going to make all that up.
No, absolutely. He's still going to be down a good 10 CS pretty much no matter what happens here, which is a pretty difficult situation, but that is kind of the situation you often find yourselves in, especially when it is double combat summoners on the TF.
Yeah.
It even reduces the options of like, oh, he messed up, maybe I can look for an all-in. Well, no, you really can't. It's very, very hard when you are playing against Ghost Flash TF, because if you overcommit to that all-in, you could just get chased down as well, right? So it really limits the options for the K'Sante, and it just becomes about loss mitigation and being more valuable later on in the 5v5.
And especially for K'Sante, so many times when you see K'Sante catch somebody off guard in top lane, it's because they step just a little bit too far forward. They get K'Sante'd under the turret and he just displaces you so far. TF never really has to step close enough that K'Sante can even do that, right?
Yeah.
Like the guy's range really ruins so much of that potential setup that K'Sante would look for that X factor with. Back in the bottom lane, Dignitas's duo is so much happier with the way things are right now than the way that they were in the previous.
Absolutely. I mean, and we're just going to have to see, when these opportunities present themselves, can Busio find the angles? Because when you're playing this Halo Blades Poppy, when you're playing Poppy support, he's going to be going Bloodsong, almost guaranteed. And it is just about finding that angle. They step forward for that split second, you flash in, you stun him against the wall, you knock him up, you set up those 100-0 plays. That's really what it is all about. That X factor, being able to reject people, with the step back presence, with that W as they're going in on these dashes as well, is really, really big and going to make Spica's job that much more difficult too, because even if the Nidalee gets to a strong point, if you hit a spear and you want to jump in, all of a sudden you get stunned up by the Poppy as you go in from the Poppy's W. Yeah. You could just be lights out.
Ooh, Licorice, just when I said he shouldn't be able to find these angles, he finds one. Bwipo popping the ghost though. Licorice might have gone all out, but Bwipo disengages. Now Busio in some trouble. Steadfast presence stops the full Leona engage. Busio has to flash to survive as Masu flash and cleanse, trying to get away from that one. Pardon just the arcane shift. Flash still in his back pocket, still ready to use that one. Dignitas at least getting some of those summoner spells out of the FlyQuest duo.
Exactly, yeah. It was Isles flashing in there to try to land that stun as Spica went in for the Axew pouncing forward. Inspired now. There with Quad. Jensen could come over. They do have the extra man here, but the bot lanes are all coming up.
Isles down to 100 HP. He's likely to die. It's first blood over to Quad, but he's going to be traded right on back. Dignitas still looking for the 3v3 here. They know they've got health advantage. Spica wants to find a spear. That one's going to go straight between the targets. And it looks like Dig won't get anything else. A 1-for-1 trade here at the very start. The kill goes over to the Kai'Sa. Sven's going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, he is. Quad as well, though, getting a kill. So both teams getting a kill onto one of their AD carries. Going to be feeling pretty happy about it. And Jensen doesn't even get an assist in there, so is going to fall a little bit behind as far as the gold is concerned, but not too big of a deal. He pushes it out. He is up farm. And back towards top lane now. Licorice just kind of continuing to deal with this punishment. The second plate here about to follow. And he does not have Ghost. He does not have All Out. Flash is still available for Bwipo, so it'll be really hard to find an angle for much of anything. Has gone towards the Merc Treads, which are obviously going to be helpful for the gold card, but at the same time, it's mostly physical damage that you are going to be tanking, so he's not really that tanky just yet.
Yeah, this Twisted Fate also getting the first 3 grubs. FlyQuest setting him up to be able to mine even more money off of this turret. It's just not a fun time up in top lane. FlyQuest's gold lead is almost entirely on Bwipo, on the TF here in top side, as Sven and Isles hanging out inside the Tri-Brush. Might just try to wrap around on these guys, but they think better of it.
Yeah, they do have the ultimate available now for both Isles and Sven, and there is no cleanse on Masu. So if you could actually connect onto him, there is potential that they could go in, look for an all-in play. And Quad, again, jumping in.
Yeah, Quad is not afraid here on the Tristana in mid lane. You do have that Ninja Tabbies, plated steel caps, whatever you'd like to call them, purchased here for the Corki. So Jensen knows that he's got that extra early power spike compared to what Quad has. Still just not going for that himself. Has the Vamp Scepter. Back down in bottom lane, Masu just firing off that True Shot Barrage. Might be able to cancel a recall there. Yep, Isles going to be stopped on that one. But one thing that I'm watching in this game, Isles has by far the biggest engage potential of anybody on the Rift. FlyQuest's engage tools are pretty limited. They have pick potential, right? Twisted Fate can show up behind somebody. Maybe Poppy gets a good angle. But there's no hard go button on FlyQuest.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be the difficulty for them. You do have a little bit of poke, obviously, with the Ezreal, and we've seen when Karthus really gets going, sometimes the way they start the fight is just with the Karthus ult that softens everyone up and says, you don't get to fight, right? You set up to the objective, you have them walking in, 2 potential gold cards, 2 potential Ezreal poke, and the Karthus damage as well can become very, very difficult. So when they do group up, I think it's going to be a lot about, just these rapid-fire gold cards coming out from the TF that are then setting up those other members for the follow-up. So it won't be as much pressure, I think, for them to have that primary engage. And on the other side, I think it's more onus on Dig to be able to find those engages.
And here we go. Hex flash over the wall from Busio. Isles is going nowhere. Masu gets the kill.
Man, Isles is just being tracked everywhere, it feels like. We're watching bot lane, recall after recall after recall getting stopped there by Masu, and he lost so much tempo on the map. We saw that Busio got out on the map, was able to get some wards down on bot side, and that helped actually spot Isles as he was making his own move around, gets spotted on the recall, and Hex Flash over the wall from Busio, stuns him in the wall, sets up another easy kill there for Dig, or on Dig, excuse me, as FlyQuest now open up a nearly 2,000 gold lead.
Bottom lane, 1v1. Here with the AD carries. Sven popping the Killer Instinct. Barrier alongside it. Masu's down to 150 HP. Likely to die with the flash on the wall, but Masu gets the outplay for the kill as Bwipo escapes Spica and Licorice on the other side of the map.
Man, that is devastating for Sven. He even used the barrier, used both his summoners there, flashed over the wall, but the Q came back up, I assume, for Masu, and he just hits him with the Q as he flashes in. That's that matchup that you're supposed to be able to win. That's why people like this. Is what I was talking about in pick and ban. Back in the day when Kai'Sa was played so much, it was considered a really advantageous match because of those situations where you find yourself in the 1v1, take the 1v1, take them down. But Masu finds the outplay, moves to 2-0, and bad goes to worse here for Dig.
Back up to a 2,000 gold lead here, just 11 minutes into the game. Better state than it was in game 1 for Dignitas, but still not what they want to see. Quad goes in for Jensen. Yet again, he's down 1 level, so he doesn't really want to force this any harder. Busio walking up there, just drops the Ignite.
They're going to
keep
him.
Sven here. Inspired, throws out the wall. Masu's trying to get the wave pushed up. They don't just want to hard dive Sven underneath the turret, but they are keeping him away from any possible escape avenues. Sven down to 100 HP. Busio's going to eat a turret shot, but Sven's going to eat dirt. Inspired's holding the spoon to feed it to him, and it's a 4-1 game for FlyQuest. Jensen, just again, always on the receiving end of Quad's aggressive movements here in the mid lane, while Spica and Licorice will at least be able to grab something up in the top side. They got the second trio of grubs. They're going to get the first turret of the game and try to bring this gold lead back to something more controllable. Meanwhile, Inspired's going to take the second Drake, and nobody from Dig is around to stop it.
Yeah, the gold lead shrinking a little bit with that top lane tower take, but again, it is Inspired just power farming here. It's Masu and Busio creating advantages for the squad again. And now Busio up towards topside. He has just been so impactful through both games, really showcasing his stuff here. And Licorice is not out of the woods just yet. And if he goes for a lazy recall, Busio is likely to find him here. We'll see if he does actually check the brush, and now Licorice is going to have to try to get out of there, but he gets knocked back and still could get stopped.
Nicely done. K'Sante cannot escape. He tried to get out, but the steadfast presence stops him in his tracks. Busio making the play.
Nicely done by Busio. Potentially Licorice could have just led with All Out when he was kind of behind him, but I think he thought, I can just walk this one out. But at the end of the day, Busio knocks you back, then has that steadfast presence, stops you again. Spica is here. Could look for something if he can find a spear, but they're just going to have to drop it because he's worried that other people are there. So that's 2 waves at least all going down, and multiple plates are going to fall, and your top laner just died. So now it's a 3,000 gold lead here. FlyQuest firmly in the driver's seat here once again, and we can watch this 1v1.
Okay.
Didn't get to actually catch the very beginning of it, but both players trying to sidestep each other over and over again. It looked like Masu was just hitting every single Q, and then Sven making sure he can flash the wall, gets right up against it, flashes over, gets hit by the Q. You can see the frustration on his face. He knows that's what they were looking for. And the frustration from the dig staff as well. They know that is the situation that you have this matchup for. But Masu just didn't miss a Q that we saw. He was hitting everything, and he was playing in the wave. So the Acathian Rain from Sven is just getting spread across all of these different units, right? It's not all hitting the one guy.
Well, Isles down to half HP here as he needs to get out of FlyQuest's jungle. Luckily, he does have Sven and Spica both nearby, so FlyQuest can't fully commit to picking up another kill. But yeah, we were talking about Dignitas grabbing that first turret up there, trying to bring the gold lead back down to something more approachable. And then as soon as we mention it, FlyQuest make the play to double the gold lead that they had, up to 3,500 here. Again, 14.5 minutes into the game. The Rift Herald is live on the map. And once more, it's so much FlyQuest vision in the topside river.
Yeah, it is going to be really, really tough, I think, for Dignitas to kind of find those angles that they're going to need to make something happen in this game. You know, the reality is, yeah, Spica's got a little bit done. There's a jump in from Quad, but Busio is behind him. Spica's going to help to keep him safe. I mean, you're 0-0-1 on the Nidalee at 15 minutes here. You know, you are about equal in farm, but the Karth is just in such a better spot.
Yep. Dignitas, they're all hanging around down here, but there's not really anything they can find just yet. And honestly, we might have a problem up here in the top lane as well. Bwipo chasing after Licorice here, just putting the bullets in him. Licorice,
what do you do?
I don't think you want to go any closer, buddy. It's time to get the hell out of town. Bwipo's looking to cut him up, and Busio survives the dive here in the bot lane. They're going to get another kill back onto Isles as Bwipo takes out Licorice on the other side of the rift. It's a 2-for-0 across the map, and FlyQuest is once again making fools out of Dignitas.
Bwipo just played that out really well, but there's just nothing that Licorice can do. The TF is too damn fast. He's chasing you down. He tries to turn for a potential all-in, but you're never going to be able to win when you're that far down in health. You can't escape, though, either, as even once the Ghost expires, he just uses the ult to continue the chase. So Licorice kind of checkmated in that position. Bwipo really kiting it out well, and now Dignitas really up against it, down 4K. They already lost game number 1. It's 1-7. And Inspired here, continuing to farm, taking away the Scuttle, going to look towards Herald and just extending that lead even further as Isles is dead.
Isles is not getting away from that one, man. The support gap in this series has been massive. Busio is everywhere. He is making plays day and night. And Isles has just not been able to find the same results, the same success. 0-4-1 here on this Leona. I mentioned earlier how critical I think he is in this game because he is that one guy that really has a go button, but we're not seeing it.
Yeah, it just hasn't really been able to find any of those angles, and it feels like he's just not right place, right time. You know, so much of League is being in the right spot. As Quad, not afraid at all. He's the one chasing after Spica and Licorice. Maybe they can find something here.
Yeah, Quad trying to kite it out. Flashes away, stays alive. Blade of the Ruined King.
Comes Busio.
For the first item, gives him that extra little bit of burst. As Busio could be in some danger. Licorice looking to force him back. Nice spear there onto Inspired. Busio wanting to keep his jungler alive, but it ain't gonna work. Isles is on the board. They get the shutdown on Inspired.
It's so unfortunate because last game when they got the big shutdown on Masu, it went to the Leona. This game when they get the big shutdown on Inspired, goes to Leona. Not where you want to see it. Bwipo maybe in trouble.
Yeah, Sven's jumping on him. Bwipo's out playing it for now. Killer Instinct into the Acathian Rain. Gets Sven the kill, but he's got the explosive charge strapped on his head, man. It's just one of those where you got to sit there and say goodbye.
Yeah, he knows it. He's going down. Did find that 1v1 kill, though, onto Bwipo, so going to be happy about that. It got a lot closer than I thought it was going to be when the gold card came through. Oh, nice flash in for Busio.
Once again, man, this guy keeps making plays. Spica down to 100 HP. Heals it back up. And now Isles has to be concerned. Masu continuing to fire off these Mystic shots.
Man.
Yeah, he's just completely not concerned with Dignitas right now. And honestly, 6,500 gold lead, 18 minutes into the game, I don't think there's cause for concern.
I mean, they're styling on. This is the kind of confidence you want to see from these young bot laners. Masu and Busio have been the big story to me in this series, even though obviously all the talk coming in was about Bwipo and Inspired versus Jensen and Spica, you know, this kind of rivalry there. But it has been the FlyQuest bot lane making all the noise, walking the walk, talking the talk, and they are looking really strong here. Second Dragon as well, going to go the way of FlyQuest, is now 6,000 gold lead, and they have the objective advantage here. And if it is going to be a Mountain Soul going the way of FlyQuest, there's just no way you can really see Dig, you know, bursting someone down through that.
Right, and especially, I mean, you've got Corki, you've got Nidalee, you've got these champions that like to poke. Permanent shield that refreshes after not taking damage for a little bit is pretty tough to deal with here. Dignitas, honestly, I was hoping for such a close series out of this today. You even mentioned at the top of game one how you were looking forward to this head-to-head.
I was looking forward to it so much.
Yeah, dude, this was supposed to be the banger, and instead, it's just Dignitas not up to the task. Masu goes on a rampage. And now we got to see if Spica can even try to get away. You're seeing a lot of pings up on Jensen as well. They know the Corki is back there, and they are looking for more kills. Another TP ready to show up, but Busio makes it easy for Bwipo to grab the kill. Jensen's trying to fight back, but this Corki doesn't have any mana to get the job done. Bwipo's still alive, and he's not afraid at all. Inspired and Quad ready to reinforce. Objective bounties are available soon. They're going to need a lot of those. Masu going to take down the tier 2 turret in the mid lane with a Rift Herald here as well.
And FlyQuest are just everywhere, putting on a show today, winning in the top lane, taking down the turrets mid lane. They're winning every fight we see on screen, and then you look at the minimap and they're winning elsewhere too.
This is just incredible from FlyQuest here today. These guys are looking really, really good. I was the one of us who had FlyQuest the lowest rated on preseason power rankings because I thought they had a lot to prove after their showing at MSI. I thought they had a lot of issues that they needed to work out. And if they keep doing like this, all right, I might just have to be a believer.
Yeah, I mean, they are looking really, really strong and are going to be trying to look towards these other matches up at the top of the table. Obviously, they did lose at the start against Team Liquid. They would love to get a rematch against them, potentially in playoffs. This may be a pick here.
Flash for the Zenith Blade, engage after Masu, but he gets away. Both summoner spells had to be committed to do it, but that's just fine. Masu gets away from it. No pick, no shutdown. Dignitas wanted to make the moves. I like the fact that Isles went for it, but Masu just had the response. When both summoner spells are available, when there hasn't been any pressure on him up until that point, he's fine, just throwing everything in the tank to get away.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal's just so slippery. It's very difficult to lock down Masu. You know, he is a bit too far forward, does lose the summoners, but as you said, that's what they're there for. Stays alive. He's 4-0-0. Dignitas would have loved to get the bounty off of him, but even if they do, they're just really so far away from being competitive in this game. They would need to get fight after fight after fight into something like the Baron to even have a chance. As Quad's on 2 items, and they're trying to move in here to contest around that river, but they just don't really have a way in.
No, and you can see the Void Seekers from Sven just don't do anything meaningful. That was, what, 200 HP off of Bwipo? That's not exactly a tanky target, man. This is just not good for Dignitas. No flash available on Jensen or Sven or Isles. Spica, get that Leandries out of the way.
I mean, this top lane gold diff is also insane at this point. It's over 3,000 gold, 3 full items already done for Bwipo at 21 minutes. He is farming well, he is taking plates, he's getting kills. He is utilizing that passive to the fullest. As Masu here around mid lane, they'd like to try to find an angle to go on him before his summoners come back up, but that is, of course, why FlyQuest is playing around him, there to cover in case there's any sort of an issue.
Man,
it's shift in, though.
80 TF, so strong here. Sven, he uses the barrier. God. He barely stays alive, but Bwipo's going to grab the kill on Licorice. Now Sven has to still try to get away. Busio's coming in from the side. True Shot Barrage only going to hit the wave. It will not finish the kill on the Kai'Sa, but Isles is going to drop yet again. Spica wants to escape, but Bwipo deals him a losing hand. Jensen ain't going to do anything to Quad, and Dignitas just crumble to dust.
This could be it. They're marching on the base 22 minutes in. FlyQuest made no mistake about it today. They show that they are the far superior team.
Dignitas is gonna need more than trash talk if they want to compete with FlyQuest when they're playing like this. There's the last kill they needed. Isles respawns, but what is he even gonna do? Nexus turrets are already gone. 2 Tignitas Jensen there for Inspired. FlyQuest absolutely smacks Dignitas.
And Inspired with the ult chat as the Nexus is exploding. Hits Jensen with the So Vegan. A little bit of salt in the wound there. Dignitas going to want their revenge, but if they're even going to find it, they're going to have to wait till playoffs because FlyQuest crushed them today. A quick 2-0. Back-to-back dominant series, honestly, here today that were showcased. FlyQuest on a march towards the top, not going to be impeded whatsoever by Dignitas. They're going to be targeting these top teams, looking to see if they can win a championship.
Awesome showing from FlyQuest. Let's go down to Jat on stage.
Thank you very much. Quad, really quickly, congratulations on your win. How did it feel to pick it up against Jensen? I know a lot of other people have been building up the rivalry.
I'm very excited today game, but I feel like today my enemy is not Jensen. I think Minion is my enemy.
Wow. How was the team in the approach up to this series in terms of taking this more or less seriously than another LCS opponent?
Oh, sorry, can you say again?
Yeah. Was the team making this a more important match than a different team because it was Dignitas and Jensen?
I think we don't practice not different style. I think just we keep going like our style. That's all.
How have you been adapting to the LCS now 3 weeks in?
I feel like really easy and I get used to it. Our team style and LCS style.
Where do you rank FlyQuest now in terms of yourself and the other LCS teams?
Oh, sorry, can you say again?
Sorry, that was a poor question. Where does FlyQuest rank in the LCS?
If I'm not nervous, I think we are rank 1. Yeah.
All right, Quad, with that, congratulations. Best of luck in the next couple of weeks and the rest of the LCS season. That's it from here. Let's send it to the lounge to close out the day.
That answer, right?
That was good.
If I'm not nervous, we're number 1.
Love that answer.
Both of our series a little one-sided today, Raz.
The second one being shocking.
Yeah, I don't think any of us except Jet expected the 2-0 and in such dominant fashion. But let's take a look at today's player of the series.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm curious to see because again, they never tell us
They don't.
who wins. Okay, it is Thanatos and Busio.
And it's a reminder for you guys who the player of the series just yesterday was, too, with Palafox and Impact winning that out. So congratulations to all 4 players for picking up player of their series in their respective series. Welcome back, chat.
Yeah.
What a fast week.
Yeah, it was quick.
Normally we haven't even started the week by this point.
Yeah.
And we're already done.
True.
Yes.
That's what we get for not being on the weekend this week.
4 2-0s.
Yep.
And I don't think a game went longer than 30 minutes today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The FlyQuest series was a stomp. I'm glad Bwipo, I was actually going for Bwipo Busio, but they just kind of pushed Quad and then they left him there.
We were wondering what was going on.
I wanted Bwipo to stick around.
Yeah.
But I do think also I was watching the players celebrate right after the match. Bwipo went to Quad first and gave him a hug, and then he went to his bot lane.
Oh,
I think it's
cute.
a really meaningful win for the team. They're not going to overly build it up, but the fact that Quad had a little bit of trash talk afterwards as well, it's a nice welcome to the league because I feel like just because of the rivalry between Inspired and Jensen, everyone's been trash talking Quad. It's like this massive amount of collateral damage. So he looked good today, and I look forward to seeing him continue to develop.
It's like good player team bonding in a way, like the rallying, the camaraderie, and the fact that we actually get to hear from him. And we've heard how good his English was.
Impressive.
That was a damn good.
So normally I'm better at preparing my questions if it's not an English as a first language speaker.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was going for Bwipo, so I messed up a few questions, but he hung in there really well.
He was really good. I hope we get to hear from him a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Two very different style interviews,
right.
I guess. As we take a look at today's series starting. Going back to the C9 series, I think Thanatos, we kind of talked about him going into the series as being like, okay, is he going to have these pop-off moments? I thought he performed insanely well today. Their topside control was so dominant.
The lane was good. He connected with his jungler really well because they were playing towards their jungler in the game 1. It was the Zyra, in game 2 it was Karthus. So I thought they played really well as a team, which made this award pretty hard. But Thanatos as a whole did exactly what you expected from what Reaper said, which was, you know, just a very good individual player in how he played out lanes and the team fights.
And then in the second game, when he was put on Skarner, he then team fought really well. He was finding the either turnaround moments in the fights or the clean engages, and it ended up being back-to-back 24-minute games for Cloud9, taking down Shopify.
Yeah, and this is a great note for C9 to kind of be on going forward now, too, because I think, again, this kind of proves how well they've been working together as a team. As we see FlyQuest working insanely well
just the end
as
of this
a
game,
team.
we can't see the CS. Inspired had we got it. Inspired has more CS than Quad and Jensen.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He smurfed game 1. He absolutely ran it.
He did. And in terms of smurfing, I felt like Masu and Busio, specifically Masu in this play, gets the Q off as you flash forward. Well done from him. And in game 1, when they turned the Brand gank, I thought their bot lane carried them in this series. Sure, they all played well, but like the biggest gap came from Masu and Busio. So it makes a lot of sense that Busio ended up getting player of the series. I think I voted for Masu. It makes sense that both of them had really good games.
Yeah.
So good on them.
Yeah, I think it was really close between the two of them for that player of the series. As we pull up our Samsung SSD Fast 5 for the week, we'll see if that bot lane is on
who's
there.
fast?
There they are.
Who's quick?
Masu, fastest kill at 510.
I feel like Thanatos has hit the fastest to 100 CS multiple times here. I've seen his
name.
name.
It might be a 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Because I know it was definitely last week.
Yeah. I feel like every time we've had this, we've seen Thanatos' top 3. So.
Yeah, that's a future stat request. I'd say the fastest support item is slower than the other weeks I've seen. I think it's almost always 3 people bunched right next to each other. So the fact that he's got a 10-second advantage on everybody else is surprising.
Yeah, and then, I mean, shout out Blabber. Blabber-inspired contracts, fastest to level 6. I've been kind of keeping an eye on this just because of these insane fast clear junglers that we have. Raz, you're laughing.
Because I was like, what connects Blabber-inspired contract? Oh, Zyra Karthus.
Zyra Jungle.
All right, guys.
That's the Samsung SSD Fast 5 for this week. Reminder that Samsung is partnered with Sleeper and Fantasy LCS, and you can earn bonus points each week for drafting the fastest performers to your team.
You know what time it is?
Diggs.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
No, it's not. But it's my favorite time of the week. It's when we talk about MasterCard Player of the Series. And who do you think
Player of the week.
the Player of the Week is? It is Impact!
All right.
Most winningest player in the LCS goes to Impact, and another Player of the Week goes to him as well.
Yeah, and we spent some time celebrating his career. Just played, what, most wins? Or
most wins.
Yeah, most wins in the LCS. Of all LCS players. This Mordekaiser answer, again, something I saw in LPL. I was waiting specifically for Impact to pull it out into Skarner specifically because Impact is such a Mordekaiser enjoyer, and he has these pocket picks from the extent of his career that he can just kind of pull out whenever he wants.
Even his Cassante game, where he was put behind because of a level 1 and the lane swap, and his ability to come back within those games is impressive. He knows how to win, and he recognizes the conditions that he is in, and I think he puts himself in positions in team fights to be able to come back in games like these. So, yes, his Mordekaiser, beautiful sight.
Still destroying his Mordekaiser.
He's still destroying them all, but I think he earned it from both the fact that he snowballed in the Mordekaiser game, and he actually had a huge impact in the second game as well.
Fun fact, he's in year 10 of his LCS career.
Oh my God.
Yeah. One more split. He started one split before Jensen came to the LCS.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both in year 10, but Jensen took a few splits off here and there.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, but Impact is just steady the whole time. It's incredible.
He's just, I mean, I love what he said to you the other day, right? Where he's like, this means that I am a good player, like consistently a good player. As we pull up the standings, Cloud9 and Team Liquid Honda tied at first place. Same match record, same game record. FlyQuest sole possession of 3rd. And then it's really interesting because now, because of the game record, everyone is kind of slotting in behind.
3-4, 3-4, 2-4, 2-4.
FlyQuest has got to be feeling good, man.
They have to be.
They have gone against some pretty tricky opponents already. They're the only ones to take the game off of Team Liquid. They weren't able to take the match, but they're going to be feeling pretty confident going into the second half, especially with how they just dismantled Dignitas here. Now Dignitas has got to be worried, even though they got 21 days to think about it, because they could be 1-3 if they lose that Team Liquid game.
And as a reminder for you guys, as you can see at the very top of it, returns July 20th and 21st. We come back after the 2-week break for Dignitas versus Team Liquid Honda, Immortals Progressive versus FlyQuest, Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves, and NRG Kia versus Shopify Rebellion. But as a reminder, not just us, every league is having that break. So hopefully there's going to be good content to pull you guys over as we look at the NACL summer schedule.
The NACL!
I forgot about that one. How could I?
They're not taking a break.
They're not.
They're going to be here that entire time. So you guys should check that out. That's where some of our future pros like Masu and Busio that we talked about come from.
Some of the players that are literally playing today, Antonio, Zeyzal, Fake God, all of them, they got their name and championship through there. Not so much Zeyzal. He may have been a little bit more prominent before that, but...
APA, who's on the desk today.
Exactly.
And that is it for us. Reminder, once again, we'll be back from break Saturday, July 20th for Dignitas versus Team Liquid. Look forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know what that means?
What?
Have a happy July 1st if you're Canadian and July 4th if you're American out there.
Happy upcoming Canada Day, everybody.
Exactly. If you're Canadians like us, and you should be Canadian, happy Canada Day.
I'm not Canadian.
Happy Canada Day.
You good? No, I think I'm dead.
We can kill. I think this one. Okay, good. I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm dead. Ezreal ult.
Nice. Clean game. Nice. Wait, the kills is 1-5, by the way. Have you guys ever seen him play a game like this? Have you ever played one like that?
I don't think so.
Good job, guys. Look also. Rankin flash in. Yeah, Rankin flash in. We should kill Rankin. Yo, I'm out. There he's dead. Nice. Good time. I'm out, guys. Poppy. Don't pass Poppy. Just kill Poppy. We're killing Poppy and then we can move, okay?
Help me.
Yeah.
No flash, no flash this guy.
You can just kill.
We're coming.
I can reset.
I have W and my kills for you, don't worry.
I'm on the way for Kai'Sa.
No flash, Kai'Sa, no flash. No worry, no.
I was dodging everything, like...
Holy. Help yourselves.
No, I want to kill the Poppy first.
I go Kai'Sa. Oh, I missed you.
Oh, nice. He gave me a thingy.
Guys, I think with the flash, we have to kill him one time.
No! Oh! Licorice looking to force him back. Nice spear there. Onto Inspired. Busio. One to keep his jungler alive, but it ain't going to work. Aj only going to hit the wave. It will not finish the kill on the Kai'Sa, but Isles is going to drop yet again. Spica wants to escape, but Bwipo deals him a losing hand. Jensen ain't going to do anything to Quad.
Wait till playoffs, because FlyQuest crushed them today. A quick 2-0 back-to-back dominant series, honestly, here today that were showcased. FlyQuest on a march towards the top, not going to be impeded whatsoever by Dignitas. They're going to be targeting these top teams, looking to see if they can win a championship.
Awesome showing from FlyQuest. Let's go.